7 years, 7 solid years of marriage. And I never thought I'd find myself staring at a side of my wife, Claire, that I never knew existed. We met in college, and from day one, she was all I could think about. I had loved her fiercely, built a life around her, and trusted her with my whole heart. Little did I know that trust would be shaken so completely that I'd never see the world the same way again. Wait. Did you just hear that? 7 years of marriage, and he had no idea. Guys, welcome back to Official Costly. I'm Gideon. I stumbled across this story on X Twitter, and I could not stop reading it. Like I literally had to put down everything I was doing just to get through this. And the ending? Oh man, the ending is not what you think at all. Stick with me. Let's keep going. It all started so innocently, I suppose. One Friday night, she came home looking unusually excited. She sat across from me at the dinner table, her eyes practically sparkling. "You'll never guess," she said with a smile. "Guess what?" I asked, amused by her excitement. "Sarah thinks I should join her gym. She says it's exactly what I need to shake things up to get out of this. I don't know. This feeling of being stuck. Something different. Maybe it'll even be fun," she said, shrugging. Now, Claire and I had always been a bit more introverted. We liked our quiet dinners, movie nights, and lazy weekends. But I figured there was no harm in her joining a gym. Besides, it's healthy, right? "That sounds like a good idea, actually," I said, nodding. She smiled wider and gave me a quick kiss. And that was that. It was as if a spark had been lit in her. She suddenly had a new spring in her step, a different energy about her. For a while, it was just that, a routine. She'd head to the gym after work, come home tired but oddly exhilarated. She'd talk about her workouts and how Tyler was helping her work on her form, pushing her to do better. "Tyler, huh? Your personal trainer?" I asked one evening. "Yeah," she replied casually. "He's Sarah's trainer, too. She said he's really good at what he does." At first, I didn't think much of it. Tyler was just a name, a person who existed solely within the boundaries of her gym routine. But over the next few weeks, the gym visits turned into long hours away from home. She'd spend nearly 2 hours at the gym, come home flushed, and sometimes I'd even notice faint red marks on her shoulders and neck. One night when she was getting ready to shower, I saw a particularly large bruise almost hidden under her shirt. "Hey," I said, trying to keep my voice light. "Did you hurt yourself?" She jumped and quickly covered up. "Oh, it's nothing. Just a rough workout." The more I thought about it, the more uncomfortable I felt. But she'd give me a kiss, tell me she was tired, and climb into bed. And every night as I lay beside her, I found myself lying awake, plagued by a growing sense of dread. It wasn't just the gym. It was Sarah. I didn't like her much. She'd been divorced twice, both times because she'd cheated on her husbands. She was a little bit promiscuous, but she and Claire had been friends since college, so there wasn't much I could do to keep them from hanging out. Over the past few months, though, Claire and Sarah had been spending more and more time together, going out on girls' nights after the gym. I started suspecting that there was more to it than just working out and dinner dates with friends. I confronted her one night when she returned home late, her hair messed up and smelling faintly of something unfamiliar. "Claire, do you really have to go out every night? You know, we hardly spend time together anymore." She looked at me, her face clouding over with frustration. "What are you saying, Jake? I need time for myself, too. You know how bored I've been lately." I let it go, but my instincts were on high alert. One evening, Claire and I decided to go out for dinner and take a stroll around the neighborhood. It was nice, a break from the stress, a chance to enjoy some normalcy. As we walked down the street near my office, I noticed her, the woman from the restaurant, Lauren, standing outside the store, locking up for the night. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't noticed her. She worked at the little restaurant next to my office, and every time I walked by or stopped in for lunch, she'd flash me a smile. She was a little shy at first, but as the weeks passed, it became clear there was something more in her gaze. Her greetings were warm, always with a touch of extra charm, and she'd ask about my day, making small talk that felt increasingly personal. She was attractive, no doubt about it. Dark eyes, an easy laugh, and the kind of confidence that could turn heads. But for me, that was where it ended. I loved Claire, That was never up for debate. So I brushed off the little flirtations, kept my responses friendly but brief. I didn't want to give her the wrong idea. Lauren looked up just as we passed, and her eyes landed on me. I gave her a polite nod and a quick hello, but didn't linger. "Oh, Claire," I said, remembering my manners. "This is Lauren. I come to this restaurant for lunch sometimes." She's the one at the cashier. "Lauren, this is my wife, Claire." Lauren's face changed almost imperceptibly as she took in Claire's face. She froze for a second, her mouth slightly open, her eyes wide with something like surprise, but she quickly masked it with a smile. "Nice to meet you, Claire," she said, her voice friendly but a bit distant. Claire smiled politely, and we didn't stay for more than a moment before I excused us and led Claire further down the street. I couldn't help feeling relieved when we were out of earshot. It would have been awkward if Claire somehow picked up on Lauren's flirtations. That was the last thing I wanted to deal with right then. That night, after Claire had gone to bed, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I picked it up, frowning as I saw the message. "Hey, it's Lauren." I stared at the screen, feeling a surge of annoyance. Why was she contacting me now? And how had she got my number? I replied as politely as I could, asking her not to bother me. A minute later, my phone buzzed again. "Please, Jake, I really need to talk to you. It's important." The tone of her message gave me pause. There was a sense of urgency there, a seriousness I wasn't expecting. Against my better judgment, I texted back. "Fine, what is it?" She asked if we could meet in person, claiming it wasn't something she could say over phone. I debated ignoring her entirely, but something in me wouldn't let it go. I had this feeling, an odd, uncomfortable feeling, that maybe I should hear her out. So I agreed, arranging to meet her at a nearby coffee shop the next day. When I arrived, she was already there, sitting by the window, looking restless. She glanced up when I walked in, and her face broke into a look of relief. "Thanks for coming," she said quietly, motioning for me to sit. "Lauren, I don't know what this is about," I said, keeping my tone firm, "but I don't appreciate you contacting me after hours. You know I'm married." She nodded quickly. "I know, and I'm sorry. Believe me, I didn't mean to cause trouble, but there's something you need to know about your wife." My whole body tensed. The room seemed to go a shade darker as I looked at her, waiting for her to continue. "It's not easy to say this," she started, "but I've seen her with someone else. I didn't realize she was your wife until last night, but I know her from the gym. She comes to the gym often," Lauren continued. "But it's not just her. There's another woman who's always with her." "That's Sarah," I said, feeling my stomach tighten. "That woman, Sarah, is always with a personal trainer there. They're a couple, I think," Lauren added. "And your wife? She's often with another guy, too. He's a trainer as well. And I believe he's friends with Sarah's boyfriend. The four of them are always together, working out, laughing, spending time as a group." A chill ran through me as I absorbed her words. "I've seen her kissing this guy," Lauren said quietly. My heart sank as if it had dropped straight through my chest. What did you see exactly?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper, as if speaking too loudly would make it too real. Lauren took a shaky breath before continuing. "I saw them a couple of times in the parking lot. She'd be with him, and they'd kiss. It wasn't just a friendly kiss, Jake. It was something more." My pulse quickened as her words settled in. It all clicked. Every piece of evidence I had been brushing off suddenly made sense. The bruises I'd seen on her body, the long hours she was away, the countless girls' nights with Sarah. The signs had been there all along, and now I couldn't ignore it any longer. Claire was cheating. The next day, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I left work early, parked near the gym, and waited. A part of me hoped I wouldn't see anything, that Lauren had somehow been mistaken. But then I spotted them. Claire and Tyler, her trainer, walked out together laughing. My breath caught as I got a clear look at him. He was tall, athletic, and good-looking. As they walked toward the parking lot, she touched his arm, looking up at him with an expression I hadn't seen in years. Warm, familiar, maybe even adoring. They leaned in close, and I felt my stomach twist. Just as they were about to kiss, someone from the gym called out, "Hey, Tyler." And they pulled away, sharing a private smile. I clenched my fists, feeling the anger rise in me, but I couldn't confront her. Not yet, not without proof. That night when we got home, I acted like everything was normal, but sleep was impossible, my mind racing with plans and doubts, trying to figure out a way to catch them in the act. By the next morning, I had a plan. I told Claire over breakfast, keeping my voice steady. I have to go out of town for a work trip. I'll be gone for a few days. I wasn't actually going on a business trip. I just needed an excuse to leave the house. I hoped that if I wasn't home long enough, maybe she'd feel safe enough to bring him here. And then I'd catch them. "Oh, okay," she said, giving me a faint smile. "I'll miss you." But her smile didn't reach her eyes. Something was off, and I felt sick to my stomach. I could see it now. The distance in her gaze, the indifference in her tone. Before I left, I installed small cameras around the house, hidden in corners where she wouldn't notice. I wasn't proud of it, but I had to know. I had to see if what I feared was actually happening. Then I booked a room in a nearby hotel where I could watch the live footage from my laptop. That night, as I sat in that dim hotel room staring at my screen, I waited. Hours passed. Finally, just past midnight, the front door opened. There he was, Tyler, the man I'd only seen from a distance, entering my home with his hand around Claire's waist. She led him upstairs, laughing, carefree, like they were sneaking into some forbidden paradise. My jaw clenched as I watched her undress, taking her time, teasing him. She looked so alive, so unlike the wife I'd been with for years. I didn't even realize I was shaking until I heard her voice through the camera. "Oh, Tyler," she breathed, her voice filled with raw hunger I hadn't heard in years. "You are so much bigger than my husband." It was all I could take. I slammed the laptop shut, got in my car, and drove straight home. My hands were trembling on the wheel, my thoughts spiraling into anger and disbelief. I crept up to the house, my footsteps silent as I approached the bedroom. The door was slightly ajar, and from the dim hallway, I could see them together, entangled, oblivious to my presence. Without a second thought, I pushed the door open. Claire gasped, and Tyler practically fell off the bed, scrambling for his clothes. "Jake!" Claire's face went pale as she pulled the sheets up to cover herself. "I thought you were out of town." "Oh, don't worry about that," I said, my voice colder than I'd ever heard it. "So, this is what you do when I'm away." Tyler stammered, clearly unsure what to say, but my eyes were only on Claire. "Were you ever going to tell me?" I demanded. "Or did you plan on lying to me forever?" Claire's face crumpled, but I didn't let her speak. "How long has this been going on, huh? Weeks? Months?" It was just, I needed something new, something exciting. "You don't satisfy me," she said, her voice trembling. Claire's words hit me like a punch to the gut, and I struggled to keep my voice steady. I thought marriage was about more than physical satisfaction. I thought it was about commitment, trust, the life we were building together. She looked away, her face a mixture of regret and something that almost looked like shame, but I couldn't stop. The words tumbled out raw and unfiltered. "If there was something missing, why didn't you just talk to me, Claire? We could have worked through it together. But instead you chose to tear everything apart, to betray me instead of trying to fix things." Tyler took a step forward, looking at me with something almost like pity. "Look, man, I didn't know it was going to be like this. I am sorry." "Shut up," I snarled, and he froze. "Grab your clothes and get out." I was furious, barely able to keep myself from shouting. I paused, my voice low and seething. 7 years of marriage, and this is what you do. Really, Claire? This is who you are." She shrugged, letting out a sigh as if she were discussing something trivial. "I wanted more, Jake. I was tired of pretending, tired of forcing myself to be happy with this." She gestured vaguely, and her voice took on a harsh edge. I felt like I was suffocating every night, coming home to the same routine, the same conversations, the same everything. I didn't want it anymore. She crossed her arms and looked away, a hint of frustration flashing in her eyes. "I needed something real, something that made me feel alive. You never did that for me." Her words struck like a blade, twisting deeper with every accusation. The contempt in her tone was unmistakable. There was no regret, no apology, only bitterness and resentment. I needed to feel something again, she continued, almost like she was justifying herself to a friend. With Tyler, I felt that spark. I didn't have to force it or pretend. I didn't have to fake anything. I didn't have to settle. I stood there rooted to the floor, barely able to recognize the woman standing in front of me. The woman who, with each word, made it clear that I had been nothing but a placeholder, a temporary comfort she had outgrown. The next day, I told her to pack her things. I didn't want to hear another word. I called my lawyer to start the divorce process and sat in the quiet of the house, feeling the weight of the decision settle over me. I needed space to clear my mind. Later, I went for a walk, trying to put some distance between myself and the chaos at home, hoping that a little time away would help me think more clearly. But when I returned, ready to start the next chapter of my life, I saw him, Tyler. He was standing outside near my front door, looking uneasy. "What do you want here?" I asked, the anger rising again. "I'm so sorry, man," Tyler stammered, his voice full of regret. "Please forgive me. I didn't know she was married. She told me she wasn't. If I'd known, I wouldn't have done anything with her. I swear." His words took me by surprise. I was still angry, but there was sincerity in his tone, a kind of genuine remorse that made me hesitate. I could see he wasn't the bad guy here, even if he was part of the mess. We talked for a little while longer. He apologized again and, to my surprise, offered to give me free personal training sessions. "I want to make it up to you somehow," he said, looking almost embarrassed. "I feel like I owe you." I stood there processing everything. He seemed like a decent guy who had been deceived just as much as I had. His offer of free training was awkward but sincere, and I could tell he truly regretted the situation. "I appreciate the offer," I said, feeling the heat of the anger slowly start to fade. "I think it's time to move on from all of this. I don't hold it against you, Tyler. I think you're just as much a victim in this as I am. I forgive you." Tyler seemed relieved, like a weight had been lifted off his shoulders. "Thanks, man. I mean it. I'm really sorry." With that, we shook hands, a silent understanding between us. I knew this wouldn't erase everything, but it gave me some peace. It was time to move on. The divorce took 5 months to finalize, and after that, Claire and I never spoke again. I didn't need closure from her. What we had was broken, and there was no going back. In those months, something unexpected happened. Tyler and I kept in touch, starting with small talk, an occasional text, or running into each other at the gym. But as time went on, we began to talk more, grabbing a drink here and there, or meeting up for workouts. It turned out we had more in common than I would have guessed. And over time, Tyler became someone I could genuinely rely on. What I thought was a bitter ending had strangely led to a solid friendship. And since I was single now, I decided to give Lauren a chance. She'd been a constant presence through it all, warm, friendly, and clearly interested. What started as simple chats over coffee turned into something real, and soon enough, we were happily building something new together. Lauren and I found in each other a fresh start, a chance to leave the past behind. In the end, I lost an unfaithful wife, but I gained a true friend in Tyler and a chance at happiness with Lauren. Life had shown me that sometimes the hardest moments lead to most unexpected and rewarding connections. And through it all, I learned that even when things fall apart, new beginnings are always possible. And that right there is today's story. Life is truly unpredictable, isn't it? But before I go, I need your verdict. Was Jake the bigger person for forgiving Tyler? Was Claire completely in the wrong? Comment below and let me know what you have done in Jake's shoes. If you enjoyed this story, please share, and subscribe to Official Costly so you never miss a single episode. I'm your host, Gideon, and I'll catch you in the next story. Take care, everyone.